That's hilarious. My mood is- It's funny, my frame changed just a little bit, but this is better. Alright. You know how to do editing a little bit, don't
A little bit.
you? Okay. Alright. Here we go. This is our first installment. You excited?
I'm really excited.
Oh my goodness. So we have to, I'm going to just say in the beginning, this is going to be very rough starting off because this is a brand new idea. And, you know, as an audience, you're going to be evolving with us. So, with that said, we still have a lot in store. Lots of things to talk about in our community to address some things of concern.
I have to adjust the audio.
What? Oh,
The microphone. I need to turn it down.
it's too loud?
Yeah.
Okay. We just gonna have to cut out the first 2 minutes of this video.
Matter of fact, just keep talking. The realize you were talking, so I can.
Okay. So we're going to present some ideas that we believe to be helpful, some to be challenging, some to be maybe a little familiar, some ideas that sort of push our culture in a healthy direction, especially mentally and spiritually. We have a lot of work to do in our community, and we're just here to promote the healthy evolution of us. So, with that being said, we're going to be talking about things like, of course, relationships. Black love is huge, and we want to do justice to our people by promoting love and promoting oneness through love. So, of course, we'll be talking about love and relationships. We're also going to be talking a bit about politics, some of the social issues that we seem to be facing in our culture, and also maybe some economic things, because we do have quite a few paradigms still lingering around that need to shift. So we're going to do our best to try to help push it on along. Let's get to this evolution, baby. The revolution will not be televised. Let's get to it.
Before we go any further, who are you? Why don't you tell people who
Of
you
course.
who you are?
So, I'm Reese Roberts. I am really nobody, but somebody at the same time. So, I am what I like to call just a thinker, really. I quit my corporate job so that I could be of service to my community. I was in the service industry, corporate, for about 10 years, but in the workforce for about 15 years, all in the service industry. And it just really didn't do my soul any justice in the position where I was. So I quit and I started to do what felt right to my soul, what I felt I was called to do, which is to be a community leader. Someone to shape the community, someone to shape the minds of other people, and someone to sort of help you see the bigger picture. That's really my mission in life, is to sort of paint a picture so where your spirit can understand certain spiritual concepts, it can understand natural laws and human consciousness, really. That's my specialty. I love it. So that's me. And you, sir?
My name is Brian Hippolyte, and I'm a thinker. I'm a healer. I'm on my journey, as we all are, but definitely have been placed on a particular small path for those of us that seek to help others find and manifest their greatest being for our greater calling. And so that's the path that I found myself on. And as I've been putting out that energy in the universe, has been connecting me with wonderful people who want to do the same thing. And so that's where Reese and I crossed paths, and here we are. And I think that what we both want to bring to the table is usable ways, practical ways to impart new understandings into your life. Overstanding is such a big difference in understanding, and it's hard enough to get the understanding to get you to get other people to grasp the understanding of these new concepts, these new teachings that people often want to hear but don't know how to get to. And once you get them to grasp it, you got to show them how to use it. So we want to be able to show you how to use it. So that's why we're here, and that's why we're doing this. And I'm excited.
I'm excited too, because the discourse is really what allows for digestion. It really allows for you to be able to sort of see things from another perspective, which is really what creation is all about. Being able to put yourself into the shoes of another and being able to experience life through their eyes, or be able to see things in a certain way that you can relate to, but just sort of broadens your perspective in a way. So that's what we're here for. We're going to share some very deep and insightful thoughts with you. We're going to have some very deep conversations and probably be bearing some very deep parts of our own souls so that you can benefit from it. So I would like to say personally, do not put me on some kind of a pedestal. I'm probably going to say some things that you do not agree with, which is fine, because that's so, that happens. Nobody fully agrees with any other person on the planet. That's why we all are unique individuals. But what I will do is let you know that everything I say pretty much comes from my truth. So it's indisputable when it comes from me. And so I stand by most of what I say. Now, if I say something that is just completely outlandish and I'm just like, shooting from the hip, then I will come back and apologize and say that I was wrong and be like, oh my God, go and do the whole apology tour. But I will say that that has to happen from my own free will. I don't necessarily get swayed. So as an audience, I just want everybody to express themselves and be able to have your point of view be heard without necessarily breaking down another person. So when y'all get into the comments on these videos, please be nice, play fair, and allow people to live while you are being allowed to live in your own free, natural state, in your own truth. That's the respect that we are all due, and
right.
That's the respect that we should all give to each other. So
we're all at different parts of our journey.
That's right. That's right. I understand differently than he does. He different from me, and us different from all of y'all. So let's just agree on the things that we can agree on, and try to work on the things that we don't. But right now, we're focusing on progressive ideas. We're focusing on the things that we can all agree on in our unity and common interest. Those are the things that we're looking for, not necessarily the differences. Differences, we got it.
Right. No, this is a solutionary platform.
That's right.
Everything is based off of being able to have a solution, provide a solution, especially when we get to where we got your chats coming in during the videos, or however we communicate in the future, to be able to provide solutions too. So that's what everything is about. So even when we get into the comments and going back and forth, because I'm pretty sure both of us will get in there and read them at some point in time. Like, no one needs to be telling anybody else down, right. or judging anyone else. Like, this should be a safe place and a place of understanding, a place of healing, not a place of criticism at all, because that's not what it's about. That's not what we're here for. And if we're a family, that's not what we should be doing anyway. That's not. You really should look more at yourself than anyone else if that's what you got to do.
Agreed. I agree. So let's dig into some topics, because I know that when I go to a video, honestly, I would like skip all that preliminary talking. Oh goodness! Also, I know I'm all on the microphone, but I'll be ready to go into the topic. So anyway, political. I'm gonna look up here so I don't make sure. Okay, we're gonna be talking very, very delicately about spiritual leaders. I want to say delicately because my opinions are extremely emotional. I'm the type of person that really identifies with the story where Jesus Christ was flipping over the tables in the marketplace because he was mad about merchants trying to sell righteousness and trying to sell spirituality. Like, that really resonates with me because there's a certain amount of hustle that happens in the spiritual community, especially when it comes to religion. And we are all familiar with that, how, the black community has been giving so much money into this religious system that we don't own, and that is not necessarily benefiting us on the level that it could be. I'm not saying that the church doesn't have any benefit at all to the black community, but the potential that it has is not being fulfilled because we're not using it. We're not very aware of the fact that we're giving a large portion of our accumulative donations and our accumulative wealth over to another entity that's not in the interest of our community. So
I think people are aware.
You
People,
think they're aware?
yeah, absolutely. Because the same way, right after the Black Panther movie came out, someone turned around and said, "We spent X amount of dollars, and we want you to donate X amount of dollars to our community." No one's going back to their church and saying, "Listen, we've been giving you all this money. Why aren't we doing this in our community? Or we want this. Can we get a playground? Can we get, how come there's not something that's elevated in our community, but we're continuously having to, give you money?"
Yeah, and I think the thing that really hurts the most is that this money is really being voluntarily handed over,
Right.
when it could be voluntarily used for something much better. And it's like, for us, a large portion of our barrier is mental. It's just like that meme you've ever seen with the elephant, where it's only bound to the chair and it thinks it can't move because it's tied down to a plastic chair. And it's like, come on, that's us. In all reality, we're limited only by the way in which we think and see ourselves operating. If we could see ourselves operating in a fashion where we're not going into these institutionalized religious churches and offering one person who has really obligations. They have legal obligations that have to be fulfilled in order to continue their 501c3 status. So they can't necessarily move in whatever way the constituency wants them to move, which to me is not in our best interest. If I can come to my organization, which is supposed to represent the community that feeds into it, like you said, I should be able to make requests. I should be able to come to you and say, "I've donated this much money, and I would like to see that money used in this area."
Right.
The lack of that happening is very indicative of the loyalty of the church. The church is not loyal to the constituency in so many ways because the church can only do so many things.
It's operating under the jurisdiction of that 501c status that the church wants to keep.
Yeah,
so
right.
As an organization, as a business, it's going to handle its business.
That's right.
First and foremost.
It has to, in order to exist.
So everything changes, at that point. I grew up in the church in Tampa, Florida, with Outwalls International Church, and before it was a storefront, and then we watched it go and grow into, at that time, what was like the fastest growing church in America. And once all the celebrities and stuff started coming,
Ooh,
like everything changed.
yes.
Like everything changed. Like this spot over here that's going to be the gym for the kids, this is now where the celebrities can park their cars. This is, no one can be over here because we need this for for everyone that we need on the front row. Like everything changed.
Yeah.
And
That's the story. I've been through it. Guess what church I went to?
what church?
Bishop Eddie Long.
Wow.
New Birth Baptist Church. I was there for some years when I was young, and I will say that there was some things that I got from that church as a young person. I was every bit of like 10 or less.
Right.
But I remember specifically a few demonstrations that happened in the church that I felt like they stayed with me. Honestly, I still remember to this day. But I also saw the switch, which you just talked about. I saw when it changed from being about true righteousness to being more about commercialized righteousness, where it just had to look good. passable. Like for example, I remember when Bishop Long came out and started to apologize to, the church because he had allowed a gospel rapper to perform, and he apologized to the elders because a lot of them were uncomfortable. It was like, when what is it, the guy that was doing the hip shake, and it was like, oh my God, you can't move like that on TV. Who is that? I can't. I want to say it's Elvis, but I'm gonna move past it because I can't. I know it was a black man. But anyway, I felt like he should have stood by what he thought was righteous. If you didn't think that, the having gospel rap in the church or having something that you felt was more secular than it was, according to your traditional beliefs, why not stand by that? It was like peer pressure.
Yeah.
That he came out and was like, oh, I'm sorry, It was just like, well, why don't you just stick with whatever it was that you wanted to portray or that you wanted to represent. But anyway, I do think that our religious leaders have a much more, a greater responsibility for how they lead. Not necessarily having this responsibility to bureaucracy and all this other stuff. But people, even so, like the new leaders that are coming up on Instagram, I think I was talking to you about that the other day, they're starting to be regarded as like new age preachers almost, where it's a new culture where your spiritual feeding or your spiritual guidance is coming from somebody that's not necessarily considered to be religious.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? This is not a religious person. It's not like they have been trained in religious or spiritual leadership. It's just they are navigating their own souls and they're helping you to navigate yours.
As spiritual personalities on social media, I see them serving a purpose.
I do too.